When the foundations are destroyed, what will the righteous do? Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, day number 1, the Torah portion, Vayera. That quote is from Psalms chapter 11, verse number 3. What shall the righteous do when everything is fallen apart? How do the righteous even know that things are as they really are? Are we going to allow ourselves to be fed by media, newscasts, social media, information spread abroad through the rumor mills, the conspiracy theories, some teacher online? How do we know what's going on? And chapter 18 of Bereshit, Genesis, it says in verse 1, and Yahweh appeared to him, that is to Abraham, so that we understand, since it doesn't mention his name, this is an immediate continuance of what just happened, which gives us an understanding. This is right after Abraham has been circumcised along with all the men in his house or in his household. So he is recovering from the act of circumcision. Yahweh appears to him by the terebinth trees of Mamre when he was sitting in the tent door in the heat of the day. And so he, again, we understand Abraham, lifted his eyes and looked and saw 3 men standing opposite him. And when he saw them, he ran from the tent door to meet them and bowed himself to the ground. That had to be a painful experience. And he said, Yahweh, if I have now found favor in your eyes, please do not pass your servant by. Please let a little water be brought and wash your feet and rest yourselves under the tree. And let me bring a piece of bread and refresh your hearts. And then go on, for this is why you come to your servant. And they said to him, do as you said. Abraham is surmising that Yah is coming to him in this form of 3 men, ever how that is to be interpreted. And that's a long, long discussion as to whether you believe this is merely human manifestation, visionary presentations of messengers, or one is actually Yah in human form, perhaps the Malach Yahweh, Yeshua, if you will. A lot of discussion there. We're not going to go there today. But the understanding is he knows that this is more than just humanity in front of him. And he is going out of his painful way to present to this party hospitality. Now, the rabbinical understanding is that Abraham and Sarah would position themselves along the trade routes at crossroads in order that passersby would come, they could show them hospitality, and have a chance to offer them information about the creator of the universe, as opposed to the ideology of a myriad of gods and idols that it was more commonly worshipped. That very well may have been true. At least in this instance, he is given to the act of hospitality. And he reasons that the hospitality is why they have come. And they say, go and do as you have said. There are a few reasons why that they have shown up. One is to inform Sarah, whom, if you look back at chapter 17, verse 21, Abraham was informed that Sarah was going to have a son this time next year, and that his name would be Yitzhak. For whatever reason, Abraham evidently did not tell Sarah, so Yah came to tell her. Think on that. A little dysfunction in the home, perhaps. But he comes down then to verse number 17, and Yah is revealing why he is here. He says, shall I hide from Abraham what I am doing? He says, I know that you're going to be a great and mighty nation. I know that the nations of the earth are going to be blessed in you. I know that you're going to give my commands, my precepts, my Torah to the next generations and raise them up to observe these things. So because you are a covenant man, you are a man of covenant, not a perfect man, not a man without a problematic marriage, not a man without some sense of dysfunction in your home, but you are a covenant man. Your heart is for me. Your heart is for my word. Your heart is for the kingdom that I'm speaking to you about. And I've come to tell you that I'm investigating the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah, the cities of the plain, for it is great before me. There's a couple of things that we need to be aware of here. Primary that I see is that Yah is aware of events and things going on in the earth, not because some version of media has reported them, but rather that the victims of mistreatment and abuse, those that have been offended, those that have been harmed in ways, even those that have been aborted, murdered, their blood is crying from the ground. The outcry of sin in the earth is great in Yah's ears. And it's not that he doesn't already know, but he sends evidently his messengers to investigate, to find the validity of what the outcry is about. And if it is just as it has been heard, then he moves in response to that. I've shared with you many times that Yah does not just arbitrarily insert himself into the affairs of men uninvited, but he waits for us to pray, to invite us, to encourage him to come and participate in whatever the situation may be. The outcry of those that are being abused and harmed and even slain, their cry is the invitation, a means of prayer and intercession, if you will, to invite Yah to come and to investigate and to involve himself in the affairs of man. A second way that Yah moves in the earth is through covenant. Yah is not in the business of treating me differently than he does you. I am not afforded more license to fudge on the commands and sin and get by with it, as someone say, well, they got a greater calling than I, or a more visible work than I do, for whatever comparative issues that we make. Yah's not having any of that. Neither should we. One should not puff themselves up and say, well, because of my calling and because of my anointing, because of my supposed privilege, I get by. No, to whom much is given, much is required. And those who are teachers are held to a greater exaction of his commands and his judgment. That being understood, Yah relates with us according to the boundaries of covenant. He has offered his covenant to those that are willing to receive it. If you are one who walks with him in his covenant, seeking his face, seeking to walk in obedience, seeking to walk uprightly, and by all means, you have at your disposal to pass it on to your subsequent generations, whether they're still home or adult children elsewhere. You're seeking to pass it on so that the walking of Torah does not cease with you and your generation. That is a heart that Yah sees as covenant, and he will reveal to those what he is doing in the earth. Let's just be honest. What we hear broadcasted to us, no matter how much trust or confidence we have in the parties involved, it's got to be skewed. It's, with all reporting, there is a translation of events according to whatever virtues or perspectives that the individual has or the corporation may have. When Yah speaks to us through his prophets, when Yah speaks to us in his spirit, we're hearing more clearly what's really going on than those who are chasing information on the internet or the television or the radio. Yah wants to reveal so that we intercede. It's not to point fingers. Abraham here heard of the sins of the cities of the plain. He knew what was going on. But when judgment was being proffered toward them, he cried out in their behalf, asking for mercy. And that's our job. Be a mercy crier today, and we'll talk again tomorrow. Till then, shalom.